All right, I'm gonna start the recording. All right, thank you guys for hopping on tonight. Today is Sunday, January 26th. This is our last Sunday in the month of January? Holy cow. I am super excited. If you are obviously joining us, you have obviously seen all the posts, all the excitement that Brent and Jerry are going to be bringing to us tonight. So I hope you brought a notepad and pen. I know Dawn just said that she is on her phone because she doesn't have a computer to access, and that's okay. But just be sure that you're taking notes and that you're going to be able to put into action what Brent and Jerry are going to be sharing with us. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the guys. I'm assuming that Jerry and Brent probably have a little method to their madness that they're going to be sharing with us tonight. All right, Jerry, I've got you unmuted now, and I'm going to go ahead and mute myself out. So take it away.
Okay. So what does everybody see up on their screen? Brent, if you're unmuted, can you see does that fill your screen, that Ohio training page? Lisa, yeah, it does. Okay. So we've got, it's kind of nice. We got the slideshow from Moria to be able to share so we can kind of go through this stuff. Brent, are you on or are you muted? Can't hear you.
How about now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay.
There we go. Cool. All right. So let's, there is a lot of excitement to share, but I think, one of the things that Brent and I were talking about on our way home is I don't think we could come close to creating the kind of excitement that we experienced at the event. And, that's just the case with any kind of event. Probably 75%, maybe 80%, maybe 100% of everything we're going to talk about is probably stuff you've read before, or you've heard before, or has been suggested before. I think what really kind of hit home with us was, the difference is we heard some experience there, some firsthand experience from people and what that looked like in their business, in the beginning of their business, as they grew their business, and as they continued to lead huge teams with their business. So there's nothing like actually being at an event to the experience that. So not to kind of put a bummer on this, but it's going to be nothing close to being at an event. And that's really just my way of saying I have been to enough events to know that it is a huge difference. It is just a big difference. So if you're still kind of on the fence about Thrive Palooza, talk to us about it, think harder about it. If I was Paul would be saying, just do whatever you got to do to get there. Just do whatever you got to do to get to that.
I loved how Moria said that at the event. Just buy the ticket and worry about everything else later.
Yeah. Which was a theme for a lot of things, right? Like schedule the local and then figure out how to get it done. Which is what we're going to do for sure. So yeah, let's jump into some of this. This is kind of the overall agenda. We're not going to spend tons and tons of time on this. We're just going to try to hit some of the highlights and give you an idea of the material that was covered. But right there, all those bullet points you can see were the different sessions that they had, and they had panels. And I'm getting feedback maybe from you, Brent. Is that echoing? Are you guys hearing that?
I muted him. Yeah, I muted him.
Yeah, okay. So the first one is social media tips. And let's unmute Brent because he's actually going to start talking about some of these ones.
Okay, am I unmuted now?
Yep.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. I got to say, it was an absolute, I don't know. I don't know if I could put a word to the excitement that I took out of the local on Friday night and then going to this training on the weekend. It took a lot to do it. It's not easy just to all of a sudden take off a day from work, jump in a car, drive 6 hours, and not know what to expect. And my brain was mush when we walked out of there last night, but or yesterday afternoon, I should say. But got a lot of notes, and as Jerry said, a lot of this we might have already heard, but there were some key things that really jumped out at me yesterday. So let's get this going so we don't run out of time. And the first thing was the social media panel. And I'm going to start off with Jerry's poll that he put in the Vision Builders group. Do we or do we not share our links? I think simultaneously the whole panel about jumped up out of their seats, and the answer is no, 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 and no. Don't share it in your original post. Don't share it as a comment under your post. Facebook's algorithms will stop it, and you won't achieve what you want to do. Our goal is to drive people to ask questions, have them reach out to us. We can always share the link. Do yourself the favor, don't share it. Just want to get that one right out of the way. Tip number one, real quick.
So, and that, hey, Brent, that, the other thing is, you guys all run your own business. You really just get to decide how you want to do that. And I think is the answer no? Is the answer yes? It's whatever you want to do. But if what you've been doing hasn't been working, particularly with your social media posts, maybe try something different. Brent and I did this little experiment. He was asking me, I've got 0 website visits in the morning when I get up. As soon as I put my post out there and I put my link on in that bottom, I go and look at my website traffic, and I immediately have like 2 visitors and 3 website hits or something. And he's like, how can that be? There's nobody going there that quickly. So we did a little experiment where he did it on his phone. I was on his tablet in his cloud office. I literally refreshed it at the time he put that in there, and those website hits were there. We do know what that is. That's Facebook. That's Facebook reading those links. So Facebook reads every link that's in there. And one of the things we heard that, we all kind of know is Facebook's algorithms are such that they don't really want people going off of Facebook. They want them staying on Facebook. So is nobody going to see your post if you put a link on there? No, I think some people are definitely going to see your post, because I see your posts all the time with your links on there. But I'm probably not the person you want to be reaching. So, maybe try not having them, because if more people are going to see that, I think the next step you want them to take may not be clicking on your link. It might be a message to you. That might be the next step you want them to take, rather than just clicking on your link. So anyways, enough about that.
Very good point, Jer. And something we didn't say before we started, I'm sure people are going to have questions. If we've got some time left over at the end, we'll entertain some questions that hopefully we can answer quickly. But if not, once the Zoom ends, Jerry and I will be glad to get a little bit more in depth and answer anything else you might have. Okay, so some of the bullet points about social media. The best thing we can do for ourselves, talk about our product, but be who we are and what it does for us. That's what we're trying to do, is build who we are and what this product has done for us. Be yourself. Generate your own Facebook story. When we're putting ourselves out there, I love to share the Lavelle stories, and that's great, and that's going to help. But I need to put my story out there just as much. And it's okay to show that you're having a bad day. That just shows how real we are. Not that this product has made us wonderful and we've never had a bad day before. It's okay to show that. That makes us all the more authentic. That was the next thing. Be authentic. followed that up with being consistent. We have to be consistent. I probably heard it 2 or 3 times is people are waiting for us to quit because they don't think something like this works. Either A, the product is going to stop working in our life, or B, the business part of it isn't going to pan out. They're waiting for us to fail. And what's going to happen, we skip a day or we skip 2 days, whatever's going on in our lives, all of a sudden somebody else is talking about Thrive and sharing it in their life. I don't know. I don't want to take that chance that they're going to go to somebody else. So I need to stay consistent. A big thing is with everybody, all the 200Ks were in agreement. We don't need to be friends on Facebook with every thriver out there in the world. Might not pertain to us today, but we can only have 5,000 friends. And eventually we're going to need those friend spaces. It was highly suggested. I started doing it today. Obviously, I'm not going to get rid of people that are in these groups. We're all part of a team. We need each other. But I've got a whole list of thrivers that I'm friends with. I'm going to unfriend them. I'll still follow them, and they can still follow me, but I don't need to take up a friend spot with them. Branch out a little bit. Jerry was having a conversation with Drew. Jerry had made a recommendation to Lavelle about going towards LinkedIn. It's more business-based. And Drew actually came up to Jerry to talk to him Friday night at the local, and they talked just about that. So Lavelle himself is looking at going into, other avenues, LinkedIn being one of them. So don't hold yourself.
Guys, let me tell you. It totally made my night. I wasn't even looking at him, and he literally walked up to me to say hello because he remembered the conversation that we had when I was at the VIP party at Thrivepalooza last year. And I had followed that up with a message to him and the social media person about LinkedIn and how there's more organic growth there and stuff. So he came up to talk to me. Of course, I was just freaking thrilled, right? And he's telling me, I said, yeah, you guys are doing a lot more on LinkedIn. He says, yeah, absolutely. He said, I'm going to actually try and do a lot more on there too. So anyways, that was my, thrilling moment of the entire weekend. So
he was like a little kid in a candy store when that happened, I got to say. There was a couple of key phrases that they used, and they really stuck out to me. Every single day you can say to yourself, I'm helping other people, and that's why I'm here. Let's face it, we're promoters. We're in here to make some money, but I am here helping other people, and that really, really, really jumped out to me.
Something I remember was, they talked about comparing yourselves to other people on social media, taking, even there at the event, listening to people and how they approach their business and how they talk to people about the business opportunity, how they go out, how they're very extroverted and they go out and do that kind of stuff. And they, a lot of them even agreed. They said, if you're not comfortable going live on Facebook, stop trying to struggle with that, because even when you do it, you're probably not going to be that attractive. You're not going to be comfortable doing it. It's not the only way to do things. So find something that's comfortable for you that works, actually, something that might work. That doesn't mean we don't got to step out of our comfort zones and try new things. But you just got to it's better to just be more real and authentic.
And just real quick on the branding side of it, we have an unbelievable brand behind us. And what we're doing is branding ourselves to reach out to our friends, family, and strangers. Jason, Paul, and Drew, they're in this company. They're with us every single second, minute, moment of the day. They've done, I loved how Drew put it. We've done everything we can to help you get where you need to be. We've built the vehicle, we've built the avenue, but the key thing was we can't do this for you. And as time goes on, they're always doing whatever they can do for us. but we have to take some of that responsibility, for our business, because it is our business. Everyone on this live tonight is the CEO of your business. What do you want to get out of your business? That's really the highlights for that. Jerry, you got anything else on social media or branding?
No, I think we kind of hit all the bullet points. They didn't actually present based on these bullet points. Posting versus asking. One of the things they talked about, well, I think we're going to get into that with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I won't talk about that now. But
there was one quick question that they threw out to ask yourself, and the way they put it was really cool. Jason, Paul, Drew, your upline and your downline believe in you, but do you believe in you? And only you can answer that question. All right.
Good. So here was kind of the next panel. The next panel was a 200K VIP roadmap. So, this was kind of a hodgepodge of information. It was basically 200Ks talking about their different experiences in getting there. What did you have, Brent, for this?
Just a couple of couple of quick high points. Become a vessel. What are we going to do to reach 200K? I've taken a lot of other things out of my vocabulary since this weekend. I'm not a 4K. I'm not a 12K. I'm not a 40K. I'm not an 80K. I am a 200K. And you know what? After walking out of this training this weekend, I don't believe that there's anybody in this Zoom or on this team that can't be at Thrive-Palooza and hold up that 200K sign and get that Lavelle Millionaires Award. And I just got goosebumps saying that, but I truly believe that. We can all do this. A couple other things. Don't rely on your team. If you make a rank, if all of a sudden you get to 12K, don't rely, and you get that auto bonus, and that's cool. I shared that picture of that truck. When I get 12K and I get that truck and I got them Lavelle stickers on there, I can't rely on my team to keep that going. I need to keep building my team. It's not my team's responsibility when I make one of those rank advancements. We constantly need to rebuild. People are going to come and people are going to go for whatever reason it might be. I can't rely on my downline to keep me going. I have to stay active. Your team, if you're a 4K, your team is not going to take you to 12K. They're going to help, but it's going to take your action, your leadership, and you continuing to build your team to get you to that 12K. We can take two 12Ks, sit them side by side, and they're going to get paid totally different. One is going to be, their paychecks are going to be different. One's growing from their team, and the other is growing from their actions. And I sat there and I'm like, well, how can you say that? 12K is 12K. You got that money coming in, but it made a lot of sense. It fell back to that. I can't rely on my team. I need to keep building also. You're not going anywhere if your team isn't. What can we do to help our team? And some of us that are just starting out, I'm in the boat. I've made the 4K rank, but what am I doing to help my promoters and their customers down below me? And that just keeps going and going and going. And if you looked at that first picture that Jerry said for this day, there was an amazing amount of 200Ks. I think everybody in that picture was 200Ks, but there were 80Ks and everything else that came out, took their weekend, traveled their time to put on this training because they were giving back. And the beautiful thing I loved about it didn't matter whose team they were on. We're a big family, and that's what we do here every Sunday night. We're one big happy family. What can we do to help each other? Don't be afraid to work down in your team. If you have, if you've got somebody that's below you and they might not be doing some of the stuff that the people below them need, don't be afraid to work with the people a level or two down. I had that happen. I had a promoter below me, and for whatever reason, she went on her way. so I need to reach down, to her customers and stuff like that. We all need that support. So don't be afraid to do that. Favor those new customer calls. That's, get people enacted, with those uplines. Those were my bullet points for the road to 200K.
Great. Next one was about events, gatherings, and networking. Boy, I'm gonna share something with you guys that I said to Brent during this particular section. They're talking about certainly having Zooms, having calls. One of the things that Paul challenged us to do, and you guys saw that link we put out there about the free conference call HD, was to get that set up and do one of those calls twice a week for the next 8 weeks. So when you saw Brent putting those dates out there, February 24th, March 24th, that's what that was about. Paul was challenging us during the next 8 weeks to schedule 2 times during the week. It could take about 5 minutes. Promote the call. You're going to jump on the call. You're going to share your experience, and you're going to have someone else there to share their experience with day 1, day 3, day 10. What happens is free conference call HD then sends you an email to tell you the phone numbers of the people who dialed in there. And those are your leads. They may be people from other teams. They may be people who've got free accounts with somebody else, but they may not be. So great lead generation tool to do that. Living room socials, having events. Pretty much everybody there talked about the idea of, some of them even acknowledged, they said, 5 years ago when we started, when we were sharing things on social media 5 years ago, we would get lots of responses from people. We could build a pretty good business on social media 5 years ago with the posts we put out there. And that's because probably 100 times more people would see your posts 5 years ago than they do today. And it's just completely changed. That's not the case anymore. Very few people are seeing your posts. Probably most of us are seeing your posts, and then a smaller group of other people. Hopefully, if you're not connected to more thrivers, if you are connected to more thrivers, it's probably them. So we want to be getting and connecting with people who aren't thriving yet. And what they said was the culture they really built and the duplication that they really built was about having events. Getting face-to-face with people and having events. And so during this thing, I leaned over to Brent and I said, that's pretty much how Julie and I got to 12K. Why the hell we ever stopped doing it, I have no fucking idea. But we did. We did. So yeah, that was kind of a big light bulb moment for me. We're going to start doing events, and events don't have to be that complicated at all. Certainly you can go to expos and go to those other ones and set up booths and do all that. And all of those are great. Anything to get in front of people. Networking events, get to Chamber of Commerce. If there's a local Chamber of Commerce, those events are great. There's wannabe entrepreneurs at all of those events. The 200Ks that were there said that's basically how they built their business, was getting face-to-face to people with events at networking events. That's how their teams, that's how their current people who are ranking and reaching 200K are doing it. They're doing it with events. And they told story after story of this person or that person who started having an event pretty regularly, like every week, getting together. Sometimes it just might be a few people on their team or a few of their customers, and they would get together, but it would grow and it would grow and it would grow. So we're going to start doing events, but all of you can start doing events. I know you're not all here in Rochester, obviously. So, and an event can simply be 3 or 4 people that you just invite to your house to just talk about the Thrive experience. They also talked about, the importance of, once you've enrolled a new promoter, very quickly getting them connected and a message out with family and friends, doing a family and friends call and being able to quickly get those people to introduce to their close friends and their family what they're doing and what they're starting to do, and how important that was, and how delaying that and not doing that for a number of months or 6 months in, after they've spent all that time just posting things on social media and annoying the crap out of people, how it doesn't work that well. It should happen like right off the bat when you get started. I gotta say, they really didn't pull any punches at all with people. They were really, because I think they really have seen what a lot of people have been struggling with, what a lot of people have been trying to do, and what's not working. And a lot of it was just, who are we talking to today? How can we start talking to new people who aren't thriving? So that's pretty much it about events. What else did you have, Brent? What other ideas did you have about this?
A lot of what Jerry said, events, those gatherings, it could be, a little live after 5, put people in a room and share your stories. Stories are what are what are going to sell people. Looking at a meme that's been shared 1,000 times across Facebook, isn't going to do it. But hearing what a product has done for, your life, and something you got to remember, when we're talking to our friends, our family, or maybe an acquaintance on Facebook, they're not really listening to us. But when you get that third-party validation, you do an event and you've got somebody else there and they can hear the same thing, but it came out of somebody else's mouth. It brings it all together. There were a couple of key phrases that Drew and Moria shared. People want to join passion. How passionate are you about your Thrive experience? If it's, I don't have joint pain anymore, I guess it's okay. Last week I slept a little better. That's what you're going to get. But if you're wound up and you're excited about something, that's what's going to draw people to it. 80% of people want to be part of something. Why not let them be part of your team? If you want to grow up, you got to show up, and that was all based around, events. One of the big recommendations was, if you're going to have an at-home party, keep it small. And those people that respond, that say they want to come, use that voice clip feature in your messenger. Lisa does it all the time. A lot of the conversations I have with Lisa go back and forth with the voice clip. But send them a personal voice clip, thanking them for showing interest, and kind of get a feel if they're really going to show up. That personal touch. And they get to hear your voice, and heaven forbid, they can hear that passion. That's about what I got for that, Chair.
Cool. Lisa, I'm sorry. I realized I just F-bombed on your recording, didn't I?
You did.
It's all good, friend. It's all good.
The next section was all about, and the PDF is screwed up. So it's about refer to, VIP 800, and duplication. I think it was just kind of a confirmation of these are really kind of the basics. They had everybody in the room stand up who was thriving for free, and I don't think anybody was sitting down. I think it was like most of the people in the room. They said, okay, now who has all of their customers thriving for free, stay standing. And of course, everybody sat down. So getting all of our customers to thrive for free, big importance. This is a graphic that got put together, just another way to show the VIP 800 and VIP 1600 with people in it. I think it's really kind of cool, actually. So this has been made available, and I'll certainly share it with you guys. A lot of what they were trying to let everybody know is that that's really our focus. That's really our focus with anybody who's starting, whether they're a customer or promoter, is to help them to thrive for free by getting to customers, help them to hit those fast start bonuses at the beginning. And that's what's duplicatable. That's what we duplicate. all of our tactics and things that we do, how we, whether we're doing Facebook Live, whether we're not doing Facebook Live, however we're doing things, the tactics are not the things that are necessarily duplicatable. It's the systems and the processes that we have that we want to create duplication with. And then everybody's going to find their own way to do that works for them. So this hopefully is not new to you, this sharing made easy, this information funnel. It's just a different look at what we have. Obviously sharing your story, creating a profile page, Facebook fan page. Of course, we have the What is Thrive customer page. That's something that Amy created for everybody in her downline. The 24-hour call that Paul does, the 3-way call, and then the follow-up. So I think in that section, that was really they were just really hammering home. That's our focus. That's our focus no matter what rank we're at. When we bring new people in, that's the focus. They don't need to go and memorize the comp plan or anything. They need to show somebody how to share their story, get them connected to somebody else. And that's not till down here, right? Third-party validation. I keep wanting to talk about third-party validation because it was so freaking important. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Brent, anything else?
One more quick thing before we run away off the refer to. Something that sometimes people might be intimidated with. They think that all of a sudden they have to become a promoter. They got to start doing all these posts on Facebook and everything else, and they don't. Remind ourselves that customers can refer to on AutoShip and also get theirs for free. I follow Lisa K. Fuller a lot. She's got some amazing training that she has online. She's amazing. And, in one of her trainings, and they talked about it again this weekend, was, if you have a customer that's scared to talk to somebody about it, we've talked about this enough. We know how to talk about this. It's as simple as saying to your customer, if you're loving your Thrive experience, put me in contact with 2, 3, 4 people. Just put me in contact with them. Let me do the rest, and I will help you get your 2 people so you can thrive for free. What does that also do? That works on that duplication. Jerry and so many people, they're a big advocate of the 4-year career book. And in there, it shows that, I hate to use the word pyramid, but you got 1. And if you get 4 people below you, and then those 4 people each get 4 people, that's how this team is going to build. And that's how, let's face it, we're promoters and stuff sitting here talking about it. We get paid X amount of levels deep, depending what rank we're on. We need to build our team, but it's a responsibility of being a leader that we need to help our teams build our teams. All of a sudden you get a customer and all of a sudden they're thriving for free. Then it's kind of easy to say, if you flip that promoter button, not only do you get it for free, but you'd be making a little money too. So don't be afraid, to help people, if they're not ready to become a promoter, but, put that help out there and help them find their 2. And Jerry talked about those bonuses real quick. People be more excited to stay with this business if they see success early on. Because they ask people in the room who hit their VIP 800, who hit their VIP 1600. And I don't remember the exact number, but out of that whole panel at 200 Ks, a lot of them were. I know a bunch of people in here have, but there's a bunch of us that didn't hit it either. But just imagine, if you got that $660 on your first $800 in sales in your first 2 weeks, or heaven forbid, you got that $1,320 in your first 14 days. Man, wouldn't that have really lit a fire under you? So just something to think about.
We have 4.5 minutes left, guys.
Okay.
Brent.
Okay, real quick.
What was the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 light bulb moment you had?
3, 2, 1. I tell you what, this has driven me crazy. I've been nuts. I've been scared to death of it. And heaven forbid you ask somebody for help. I've always used the checklist, and I'm sitting there 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I got to do 5 reach outs. That means I got to get on Facebook and I got to nag 5 people every day to talk about Facebook or about Thrive. Wrong. 5 reach outs. Don't care what you're reaching out. Comment on somebody's post. Start building a relationship. As that goes, you interact back and forth. There will come a time where you can segue, thrive into that. But I'm sitting here thinking, man, I got to find 5 people that I got to nag. And I'm like, boy, I'm going to die. 4 follow-ups. And all this can be Thrive related too, but it doesn't have to. 4 follow-ups. 4 follow-ups. Well, do I have 4 Thrive follow-ups I can do? Maybe early on, I don't. But you know what? Those 5 people that I reached out to, I could go back to that same post from yesterday, do a follow-up on that post. Once again, start building that relationship. Simple communication. Then I can start looking what's going on in their life. What do they do for a living? Scroll back through their posts. Are they tired? Do they have joint and ache pains? Look for those things so I can segue, thrive into the thing. Social media posts. Yep, I can do Thrive posts, but they don't have to. Put some kind of post out there. If you're a mom or a dad and you got kids and the only thing you can talk about that day is how crazy your kids are driving you, put that out there because you know what? Somebody's going to relate to that. Names on your list. You start getting people that build that interaction and all of a sudden you see, in their post down through the line, something that they could use. Start adding that to your list because those are the ones that you're going to start concentrating on. Connect with a leader. Big thing was it doesn't have to be an upline leader. It could be somebody else in your team, but let's talk to somebody.
Somebody asked a good question, Brent.
Yep.
Brent, somebody asked a good question too. They said, okay, so now we're reaching out to people and we're building that relationship. When do we talk about Thrive with them? And one of the 200Ks said that they have something called a rule of 10. And when they look at their message thread with somebody, if there's 10 messages in there back and forth, so that would be like 5 of yours and 5 of theirs. That's the point where you would say, oh my gosh, we've been chatting. I haven't even mentioned about what we've been doing. Have you heard of Thrive? So she actually uses that as a rule. Now, that's not like a strict rule, but if you're wondering, when can I start talking to them about Thrive? It might come earlier, it might come sooner, but she uses this rule of 10, which if you don't know when you're going to do it, just use that as a rule.
Just real quick, if there's anybody out there that brought their 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 sheet and you're like me and you only had the checkoff sheet, you didn't have the instruction sheet, if you go to Moria's page, go into files, I wish I would have saw this 18 months ago because it explains exactly what I learned this weekend. I'm sure I'm not terminally unique. There's somebody else that had to be petrified of that sheet out there. And I don't know, that one just really, really hit me. Okay,
Hey guys, we have less than a minute, so I'm going to stop you there just because the fact that I know we've still got like 3 sections left, beginning with that third-party validation. There is a post that Sammy Reynolds just posted in One Team, One Dream, and it starts a call at 7:15 tomorrow morning, Central Time, I believe, and 7:45 that Susan Kaufman is leading a Zoom for that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sweet.
And I was on it on Monday, this past Monday. It is huge. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. Guys, thank you so much for bringing back so much information and so many golden nuggets.